Over 1,000 stone faces stare out from a 63-square-mile island in the middle of nowhere. And for 300 years, every textbook called them proof of the most spectacular self-destruction in human history. In recent years, researchers fed every statue, every soil scan, and every satellite image to an AI. What came back says the story everyone knows is wrong. The number the entire collapse story rests on is 17,000. That is how many people researchers believed once lived on Rapa Nui, a population large enough to strip a forest, exhaust a soil, and crash a civilization. For decades, the math seemed to check out. Researchers estimated the island's ancient rock gardens, the farming plots where the Rapa Nui grew sweet potatoes, covered up to 21 square kilometers. 21 square kilometers of cultivated land feeds 15,000 people. 15,000 people need a lot of trees to move 900 statues. The whole story holds together until Dylan Davis at Columbia University pointed an AI at the dirt. Davis trained his model on infrared satellite imagery, the kind that reads differences in soil composition invisible to the human eye, and scanned every square meter of the island. The rock gardens do not cover 21 square kilometers. They cover 0.76, less than 1% of the island's surface. When Davis ran the food ceiling through the actual numbers, sweet potatoes, seafood, everything the island could produce, the maximum came back at nearly 4,000 people. The working estimate is closer to 3,000. There was never a population of 15,000. There was never a boom large enough to crash. That finding needed one more test. If a civilization genuinely collapsed, if 15,000 people fell to 3,000 in a single generation, the DNA would carry the scar. An international team led by Victor Moreno-Mayer at the University of Copenhagen and Barbara Sousa da Moda at the University of Lausanne sequenced the full genomes of 15 ancient Rapa Nui individuals. The genetic fingerprint of a mass die-off is absent from every sample. Instead, the DNA shows a population that grew steadily from the 13th century straight through to European contact in 1722. Small, stable, unbroken, and buried inside those same genomes. Evidence the Rapa Nui reached indigenous Americans between the 1200s and the 1400s, centuries before Europeans arrived on Easter Island. The civilization the textbooks called a cautionary tale of self-destruction was making transoceanic contact while Europe was still in the Middle Ages. The collapse story just lost its population and its crash. The statues still haven't been explained. The DNA shows no crash, no die-off, just a small, stable civilization that was never in freefall. So, which part hits harder? That the population number was wrong, or that the Rapa Nui were making transoceanic voyages 400 years before Europeans? Drop your answer in the comments below. Now, here's where it gets stranger, because the statues themselves were hiding the answer the whole time. But the population finding left one question the DNA couldn't answer. If there were only 3,000 people on this island, no mass workforce, no vast army of laborers, how did they move 962 statues, some weighing dozens of tons, across miles of volcanic rock with no metal tools and no wheels? Carl Lipo at Binghamton University and Terry Hunt at the University of Arizona cataloged every single one. And they found 62 statues sitting abandoned along ancient roads, frozen mid-transit between the quarry and their platforms. Those road statues are shaped differently from the ones that made it to their destinations. Wider bases, D-shaped from below, a forward lean of 6 to 15 degrees, no eye sockets. The statues that completed the journey have narrower bases, upright posture, and carved sockets ready for coral eyes. Every difference is deliberate. The forward lean and the wide base turn a Moai into an inverted pendulum. Rock it side to side with ropes, and it walks forward on its own center of gravity. The Rapa Nui always said the statues walked. Western archaeologists called that a myth for 300 years. Lipo and Hunt built a 4.35-ton replica using the exact proportions of a road Moai. 18 people walked it 100 meters in 40 minutes. No sledges, no log rollers, no army. The deforestation the textbooks blamed on statue transport never had to happen. The answer was carved into the statue's shape the entire time, lying on every road, waiting for someone to measure the geometry instead of marvel at the size. Then, the final layer. Almost every tourist photograph makes the statues look like they face the sea. Robert DiNapoli's mapping of every platform found they face inland, toward the communities, and align precisely with freshwater seeps, the places where groundwater surfaces through coastal rock at low tide. Not monuments to gods, not warnings to the ocean. Markers pointing a civilization toward the one resource this island never had enough of. The Rapa Nui didn't destroy themselves. They built a resource management system sophisticated enough to sustain a stable civilization for 5 centuries, encoded it in stone so it could never be moved or forgotten, and were undone only when the outside world arrived. The statues were never a mystery. They were an instruction manual written in rock that we spent 300 years refusing to read. Subscribe for more stories where the evidence rewrites everything, and watch this one next.